Hey guys, this is going to be a quick tutorial in After Effects showing you how to create this kind of glitch intro logo effect for your YouTube videos or whatever you want to call it. So that's pretty much the effect, and right now it has no audio, but at the end I'm going to add an audio, and if you guys want to know more about that, I will make a separate YouTube video. So let's get started. First things first, go to new project, and then I'm not going to say that because I don't need it. I'm basically going to tell you guys that you do not need any extra plugins or effects unless you want to embellish it with Video Copilot like the audio I was talking about. But you can get the download link to both these files in the description below. And pretty much let's get started. So create a new composition. Name this whatever you want. I'm going to name it YouTube Glitch, if I can spell. Glitch Effect. 1920 by 1080. I want it at 30 frames per second. And I want it to be about 3 seconds long, so I'm just gonna have it at 90 frames. My background color is going to be black because my logo is white. Well, it's not actually my logo, it's just some random one I found online. And notice that it's a PNG because we want it to be a PNG because we don't want any other data besides the logo itself, because if you have anything else interfering with it, the effects that you put on later are going to mess it up. And then also drag in your free stock glitch video, which you can get in the description below. To constrain the proportions, hold shift and just drag out. It's pretty much just like a glitch video. You can use any one you want, but this is the one I'm using. And then right click in the project area, click on new adjustment layer, name this distortion, and then over in the effects and presets tab, look up displacement map. If you don't see this little tab over here, you can also go into effect and find it down there, distort. It's somewhere in there, displacement map, yeah, and then drag that onto your distortion layer right here. And then up under the effects tab up here, we're gonna change the displacement map layer to free stock glitch video, so we can map that to that video. So now we don't even have to, we can hide this video because we don't need it anymore. And as you can see, our video is already starting to get glitched. So what we want to do is pick an area that we like the glitch, and Alt left tab, move forward a little bit, and then Alt right tab. And then in here, this little area, we can adjust these levels up here at the top and change how this is distorted, and then we can just play through it to see what it looks like. Notice how it's like super fast. Like if I look at this, it's glitching way fast. If you don't like that, then just click on your video, whatever you want to call it, and right click and go to time stretch, and then change this to like 500. That should slow it down. Yeah, so that makes it, let's render that real quick. So it makes it a little too slow almost, so I'm gonna change that to 300, and I think that should be good. Yeah, so that's like a nice little glitch effect. So what we want to do now is duplicate this distortion layer. I'd probably do 4 times, drag these around, and then resize them and move them around so it's not the same distortion. Just like that, and we'll have a long one at the end. And now under each of these, you want to click on the layer and then just adjust these little settings around a little bit, just so it's not the same every time. I'm gonna change that one like that and move it in, and then the final one, we'll do something crazy. So let's play through this and see what it looks like. So as you can see, it's getting pretty distorted, and I like how that's starting to look. So now that we're done with all the distortion layers, what we want to do is an Rgb split. So basically create a new null object and name this Rgb Split. You can rename items by clicking enter or right clicking and rename. It's good to stay organized because once you get into heavy files, it's gonna be very hard to keep track of your files. So click on the logo and click Control D twice to duplicate it. So you want 3 of these. Click enter and then change this to red. Enter and change this to blue. And enter and change this to green. So now what we want to do is look up for something called individual levels. So look up levels and then levels individual controls. Cool. Drag that onto the red, drag it onto the blue, and drag it onto the green. So what we want to do is change this red to red by clicking on the green and the blue channels, and change the green output white to 0 and the blue output white to 0 as well. So that'll give us a red channel. So hide the red channel, and then under the blue channel, open up the green and the red. Same process, change these both to 0, so you should have a blue color. Hide that channel, and under the green, do the blue and the red channels, and change that to 0, and change that to 0 as well. So you should have green, blue, and red. Now what you want to do is under the red, change the normal to screen, and then under blue, change the normal to screen as well. You don't have to do anything to the bottom layer because it's screen, so it's going all the way through it. So now you notice that whenever we drag the red color out to our left, we get that effect. We drag the blue a little bit, we get that effect, and you can drag the green around just to get that effect as well. So you basically have an RGB split is what it's called. So we're going to undo that till it's all the same, and then what we want to do is go to the RGB split and then look up an effect called slider control. So drag that onto the RGB split, and we're going to lock this layer because we're going to come back to it later. So you need to decide right now which color you like when you move it around. So is it the red, is it the blue, like the blue and yellow, or is it the green? You can mess around with this later just to see what you want, but for now I like the red because I think it looks great. So what you want to do is under the red selected, hit P to open up position. Alt select this little stopwatch and then type in wiggle parentheses 10 comma, and then simply drag this little squiggly guy all the way up to this slider. That's basically going to link the slider in this thing. Now close off that parentheses, and then you can close that down. So now what we do is whenever we change this slider around, it's going to like move that red thing or whatever you want to call it. But since it has a wiggle on it, so say if we do 20 up here, has a wiggle on it, whenever it moves it's going to oscillate. I don't want this to be on the entire time, so what we have to do that is keyframe it. So open up your RGB split, go into effects, go into slider control, and then down here we're going to make this 0 because I don't want it to be doing anything. We're going to add a keyframe and then go one frame before it hits our little distortion layer right here, and make sure it's 0, and then as it hits it we're going to make this 20. Now you can play around with different levels of this in intensity just to see what works best for you, but I feel like 20 is a really good level. And then go one after, and then change it back to 0. So this way that the color is only going on during that layer, and then it's not for the entire pause. So what you can do is you can drag all these, Control C, and then paste them over here. We're going to drag that in a little bit just so it's for this layer. Move that back. It's really nice to learn the little key bindings just so like you can easily do this super quick, so you don't have to redo all of the settings. Now you can even change these settings too if you don't find out that it's moving more or you want it to move more. Just simply click on a keyframe and then change it to like 100, and then change this guy to 100 as well, or not 10, 100, and then so now it's like super far. I'm gonna drag one more off to this last guy and drag him out here. I'm gonna move that in just a little bit. So now we're gonna render this just to see what it looks like. Alright, so yeah, as you can see, it's starting to get a glitch effect, but I honestly want it to be more. So what I'm gonna do is right down here, I'm gonna right click, new adjustment layer. I'm gonna name this glitch or whatever you want because I'm gonna use an effect called TV. Now you can play around with all of these that you want because they're all pretty different. Like there's a warp one, and this one just kind of like warps it or makes it look like that, but I'm going to stick with a weak, which is the third one, and that basically distorts it like that. So what we can do is we can mask this by clicking the pen tool or clicking G. So what we do is you pretty much just click, 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 and finish it off, and then it'll mask that certain area out. You can adjust this however you want, so I'm gonna maybe do something like this and make the top portion of it masked out, and yeah, I like how that looks. So what you're going to do is the same thing earlier, Alt left bracket, and then hover over here to Alt right bracket to finish that off, so that entire thing is masked out for that area. So you can see, you can go through and you can change the mask to like finish the entire area if you want it to be like that. Scrub through, looks good. And then we don't have to have that for the whole time, you can have it for like a little portion, and then just simply duplicate this 3 times or as many times as you want, and then drag it around somewhere else. You can drag it in the center and then change your mask around, so make it a different type of mask, just something small like a little glitch. And then on the final one, we're going to bring it down here and change the mask one more time. You can also delete them by clicking on them. I think hit V and then hit the delete key, and then hit G to bring your pen tool back up, and just create another mask. We're going to add one right here, and just like that. So now let's hit the render key and play through this to see what it looks like. So as you can see, this is very, very rough, a little bit to say. So what we're going to do is on the Rgb Split, if you haven't closed it already, highlight all of them and go to keyframe, right click, keyframe assistant, and then easy ease. What that'll do is pretty much smooth out a few of the things. And honestly, I'm pretty happy with this. So the only thing that you have to do right now is pretty much just add some like visual like effects, or like, what's the term I'm looking for, audio effects to make this glitchy for your YouTube intro. So that's pretty much how you get your glitch effect. You can make it longer, you can make it shorter, but I'm gonna play it with the Video Copilot audio pack at the end of this video, so you guys can check that out. If you want me to make a video on that, just leave the comment section below. Wow, I can't talk right now. This stuff hurts my brain. But thank you guys so much for subscribing. I'll keep putting out some good work.